Stop worrying about protein quality. Many people often worry to make sure that all the protein that they count towards their daily goal comes from complete or high quality protein sources. And this comes from the notion that some sources are incomplete, which means that it's lacking one or more of the essential amino acids and or is less bioavailable. And the PD-Cas or Diaz scoring systems are often referenced to determine the quality of a protein source. Let's first talk about why the term incomplete protein is kind of dumb, because first of all, almost every single food has every essential amino acid except like gelatin. There's no such thing really as an incomplete protein unless you want to define it as having a suboptimal amino acid profile. Now let's talk more about the PD-Cas and Diaz scoring systems. See, they were originally developed by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations to combat malnutrition. It was never intended to be used in a bodybuilding context, which doesn't mean that you can't apply the models at all. It's just important to know its many limitations and its original purpose. But let's go more into Diaz because it's recommended as a successor to PD-Cas to accommodate its limitations. See, Diaz works by measuring the amino acids in a food and then multiplying each amino acid by a factor that represents the ileodigestibility so that you get the digestible EAA content. Then they use a reference pattern, which is basically the estimated amount of EAA per unit protein required for human health at different stages of life. Then they get the Diaz score of a food by comparing each individual amino acid to the reference range, and the amino acid with the lowest percentage then becomes the limiting amino acid, and that becomes the overall score of the protein. If you can't tell yet, problems can come about because the limiting amino acid can bring down the score way too much. And it just completely ignores how we eat. Like, we eat an overall diet with different foods with different amino acid profiles. Like, we can have a food that's lower in an amino acid and then have another food that's higher in that amino acid. So even without going into the other issues with how they determine the digestibility of protein, we can see how problems arise. Another thing is that the meta-analysis that found that you need 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight to maximize hypertrophy, they didn't have a criteria to only count protein from complete or high quality sources. Why should you use the 1.6 grams per kilogram reference but only count complete proteins when they didn't even use that standard themselves? And we also see no difference in hypertrophy between vegan and omnivorous diets, which tells us that once you hit your protein goal, it really doesn't matter. And in this, we see no difference between the increases in MYOPS rates after consuming milk protein or plant-based protein. So yeah, all in all, as long as you hit your protein goal of at least 1.6 grams per kg of body weight, it really doesn't matter. So helps helpful.